How do you test volume? Oh! Wait, is it working? What did I do? Hello? Is it working? Is it finally working? Oh my god. Why wasn't it working? What the? Oh god. Wait, did I just get rid of the filters? No, the filters are still here. I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened, but dear god. Okay. Well, that was a setback. Lovely setbacks. Gotta love those. Randomly happening. I have to reset everything. Lovely, lovely. You love them when they just randomly show up. Like, wow, no voice. Lovely. Anyway. Let's have the music again. Should I have tested? Man, it's not... Oh, God. Well... Let's wait a little bit. Unfortunately... What the? Oh my god. Why is that I have to chop the fly. Okay, now that's annoying. Okay. Yeah, definitely a few. Oh. I see. So that's... Okay. I need to check a few things. Okay, let me check this out. Is it working? The voice is coming out now, which is a good sign. Yeah, it's a good sign. Perhaps. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Get this here. What is this? Huh. Bam bam ba da ba ba da ba da ba bam bam ba da ba bam ba da ba. Okay, let me get this. Where is it? Where is it? Image? No. The wrong one. Is it this one? It's this one. Now I have to fetch this. Is this the right one? Earlier this... So it should be this one. Yeah, this one. I mean, there's not much to it. Practically the same. Jesus. It's all the same. It's all the same. I'm gonna have to clean this up eventually. Oh god. What the... It's all this. Very much only 2 games. Oh boy. Oh my god, this stupid fly here right now. It's pissing me off. Anyway, okay, let's get this started. We're already 20 minutes in. Getting into the mind. Is my voice working at least? It's working this time, right? I'm not just gonna start and figure out I know that it's not audible. Oh my god. Now that was a disgrace. Anyway. Well, hello. Welcome. Well, I've already been here for a while. Anyway, let's get this started. Schedule. Right, what did we do this week? Well, as you can tell from the schedule, it's all kind of the same. We did a lot of Digimon, we did some Minecraft, we're gonna do more of it. And that's probably gonna be like that for the foreseeable future. At least until I can end Digimon Survive. And I wanna keep playing Minecraft. I'll be on Digimon Survive though.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on. But mankind won't be destroyed.
I'm having kind of regrets.
You and I are working.
Well, not regrets. The game's nice. The story is good, but it's so slow. Holy moly. I did not think it would be this slow. But we are doing a chapter per stream so far, so at this rate, I assume maybe in 2 weeks or something, we'll be able to finish Digimon Survive, which would be pretty good, because as much as I like the story, I do not like the gameplay. Hey there, Sal, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely Friday. Have you played Ice Wallow Come 2? I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I'm not. Okay. You got your moment. Are you happy? Oh my god. Here I saw it was an actual game, and then you did that. The sadness. Oh well. Hope you had your moment of happiness. Anyway, hopefully with Digimon Survive out of the way, because as much as I like the story, I'm not really that much of a fan of the gameplay, or rather, the game would be better without the gameplay, which is probably how the game was intended to be, with just a visual novel. But yeah, I have some peeps with the Digimon Survive, but overall, it's still a good game. Well, a good story, and I'm enjoying the story for what it is. So hopefully, we'll be able to just end it at least. I don't know. How many chapters does it have? I mean, like chapter 5. Let me check. Digimon Survive. How many chapters? So I can kind of 12 of them in one playthrough. Okay, so we're kind of clipped. FULDP. I mean, I walked into it, so I guess it's I should have seen it come. I should have seen it coming. But oh well. You get your moment. You get your clip. There you go. Okay, 12 chapters to go. So far we're doing like 1 chapter per stream. So chapter 5. Oh god. That's still like 2 weeks and a half of Digimon Survive. That's too much. Oh my god, but I have to do it. We need to get through it eventually. Not that I hate it. I don't hate the game, but the gameplay, it's just... It would be so much better without the gameplay. Which then leads to frustrations. As for Minecraft, so for now I'm gonna keep playing Minecraft. I'm enjoying Minecraft. I like the interactability of playing Minecraft while people are, you know, while chat is telling me stuff. It's funny, and it makes it enjoyable, so we'll keep that on. And we'll also keep Monday as a rest day. So, I don't know if I'll be playing Digimon Survive 3 times a week. This week was just kind of how it was. I may change that a little bit next week, so it's not just 2 games. But Minecraft, I'm going to keep it as it is. Monday, I'm going to keep it as it is, which is I don't stream. And then the other days, I'm going to have to think about it. But I do want to play Digimon Survive just so I can get it out of the way. Because, oh my god, please. I just want it to end. I just want it to end. I thought it would be different. You know, considering my last experience with a Digimon game was... what's it called? I have it here in my list. Was Cyber Slew, which is, I'll be honest, as a game, 100 times better. Story probably not as much, but as a game, 100 times better. So Survive feels very lackluster. You know, we started. The story is also still intriguing, even if the game itself is not. But holy, wait, did the stream die? Why is it in the red? Hello? 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 Are we back? I don't know what happened, but stream just died there for a moment. Hopefully that will not happen while I'm distracted. I happen to be paying attention this time. But hopefully it doesn't happen again. Yes? Yes? So we're back? Nice. Okay. Stream died there for a moment. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get Digimon Survive. We'll be playing more next week. And basically until we finish it, because oh my god. I don't know though if it's that enjoyable to see it from... At least on Twitch. At least on Twitch. Oh yeah, let me check YouTube. I probably should check YouTube. Yeah, it's working on YouTube. I don't know. I saw it would be different. I saw the game would be different. And I felt like if it was similar to Cyber Slew, it would be a lot more, I don't know, interesting for like streaming. But right now, it's basically just a reaction. Every stream of Digimon Survive is just reaction. It's like I'm reacting to YouTube videos, but I'm reacting to a movie or an anime or something like that. That's at least how I feel, which in itself isn't too bad. You know, that's content in itself, but was not what I expected, which is why I kind of just want to, like, sometimes I'm like, I'm playing Digimon Survive and I just want to click on the skip button. I just want to get through it. Kind of like, oh my god, please, I get it. I know what's gonna happen. I understand. Please get through this already. That doesn't mean it's bad. But it is very slow-paced. And I don't know. It does feel like Digimon Survive. Like, I'll be honest, my opinion with Digimon Survive is it feels like a turned down anime script. You know, it feels like a creator, you know, a writer came up with a anime plot and came up to a studio and was like, hey guys, have this idea for a new Digimon anime, here you go. And they're like, no. And he's like, oh, well, okay. And then the higher ups are like, oh, well, let's not scrap it. Let's make a game out of it. And that's Digimon Survive. Where, like, the script, you can kind of tell is like, oh, well, the script's actually decent. You know, there's a few flaws and there's a few peeves I have with it. But overall, you know, if that was the script of an anime, it would be pretty good. It'd probably be above average. But then you have, like, the game elements, and it's like, why are these here? It could have just been a visual novel, and it would have worked. And I feel like the game aspect of the Digimon Survive is actually a negative. I'll be honest, I feel like if it did, the game would be much better without the gameplay. Because, like, yesterday, right? Yesterday I was like, no, Digivolve and beat up Garurumon. Like, narrative speaking, I know why they don't do it. Because in the original Digimon, it's not like, oh, they Digivolve and suddenly they can, now they have full control. No, it still took them like a few episodes to be able to control their Digivolution. So, I know why they don't just Digivolve and beat the living S of Garurumon on a narrative, from a story perspective. But when you have gameplay that implies that they can just willingly transform in and out in this same, you know, in the same setting, that causes a conflict in the narrative. Because, like, you have the game telling you X, and you have the story telling you W, and it's like, well, which one is it? And that's kind of why I was getting frustrated yesterday. I was like, why is everyone scared of Garurumon? Just Digivolve and beat his ass. It's just Garurumon. Why is everyone scared? It's just a champion. You're all champions. But that's my peeves with the gameplay. It's kind of the same like when there's like transformation, like when they Digivolve. Like, I always, Digivolution was not foreshadowed at all. It just came out of nowhere. Sakyamon worked, but that's because there was actually, you know, Mio was going through stuff, seeing all the Digimon getting beaten up. But I always just came out of the blue, and we're still looking for, oh man, Lopmon. Poor Lopmon. Lopmon continues to be the last one. I mean, technically speaking, Kunmon is going to be the last one because Kunmon died before they even got Digivolution, but Lopmon is still alive, so, and hopefully they don't die. But I have a feeling Shuji has a death flag, so that may be happening soon, and Shuji may be the next one to die, unfortunately. I don't know. There's just a hunch. There's a bit of foreshadowing. I've seen so many stories that there's a lot of stuff that I can predict. Oh man, like there's gonna be a rant. Because yesterday I ended the stream, but I was not happy. Because the story ended in such a bad moment. Not the story. I ended in... By the point I was in the story, I was kind of in a bad moment. Because, man, that whole bullshit of, oh, well, we need to get to the other side, but there's an ocean in the way. How do we do it? And it's like, we have a water Digimon that just Digivolve. We have a bird Digimon that can fly. None of those are options. Instead, it's like, oh, guys, remember that tunnel we saw way back then? Maybe it goes under the sea. Like, my brain legitimately just died there. It's like, how... And the fact that they all just go like, oh yeah, maybe it does go under the sea. It's like, who wrote this? Who in their right mind wrote this? And I legitimately don't understand that. That is like, if there is a Deus Ex Machina, two Digimon might not get all there. Well, you might not all. Two Digimon might not get all there. You mean because of the size? Oh, they could get there. It's Shellmon, who has a giant shell. Like, Shellmon is gigantic. Right? He is big. And so is, like, well, I don't know about the bird one. But Shellmon could have all the kids over her shell and just carry them. Now, what my argument was, well, maybe Shellmon is like an underwater creature, meaning he can't Shellmon can't swim, but he can, like, you know, drag himself through the water. And I'd be like, okay, well, that makes sense, you know, Shellmon, you know, it's not Whalemon, it's Shellmon. He's a shell. He's supposed to be on the bottom of the sea. That makes sense. But when you have flying, but the fact that that's not even brought to the table, you know, because if they brought it to the table and were like, well, that doesn't work because of X, I'd be like, okay, at least they were smart enough to, you know, put it as a possibility, and, you know, okay, it doesn't work out, that's fine. But the fact that that's not even brought as an option just boggles my mind. It's like, how do they not, like, how is a tunnel, a random tunnel, like a more immediate, like, answer than using your flying and water Digimon? It's like, I don't get that, you know, because when I compare it to the original, you know, the original Digimon, like Gomamon, for example. Gomamon was useful in the water episode 1. Right? They were useful on episode 1 with on the water. They made a raft of fish. It's like, and that's something that I noticed after the stream, which is the Digimon are not treated as Digimon. They are treated as small people. They do not have unique abilities. They do not have, like, for example, like, remember when we were in the spider, there was the spider in the school, and there was webs everywhere? No one thought of using Agumon's flame to burn the webs. No one thought of that, which would be like instinct, like, oh, webs, fire, burn it. You know, it's like, and that'd be something that the kids in the first Digimon would have done, right? And I feel like there's that I'm having that problem, which is the Digimon are not being used. They're just kind of like side characters who are being carried around, and they're not being utilized. They're just there because it's a Digimon franchise, and they're not being used. Like, I mean, look at how the first season would use it. Gomamon, whenever they were in water, he would bring out fishes to be used as a raft for everyone. Biyomon was a bird, could fly, even though Biyomon couldn't carry a lot of people. She could still somewhat carry one person, which was obviously was it Sora? Sora, which was Sora. Palmon had her whips, her vines that she could use to carry people around. Patamon could somewhat fly, you know, and actually carry TK. Like, the Digimon were monsters and had abilities, and they were used for the plot. Whereas in this story, I'm just like, why are the Digimon not used? Why are they being ignored? Why are we ignoring that some of them can legitimately fly and carry people? It's like, I don't get it. There's also the whole, like, champion, like Garurumon being scarier than Arukenimon, which I just don't understand why that's even a thing. I mean, that'd be like showing Miotismon, you know, the third bad guy, which is basically the best guy, the best villain of the Digimon franchise, Miotismon, and then having, like, Devilmon show up and be like, oh no, it's Devilmon, he's so terrifying. It's like, dude, you've beaten the Miotismon. Devilmon is a chump compared to him. You know, that's how I feel when they were like, oh no, really, Miotismo? Yeah, Miotismo, the vampire guy. Like, he's one of the best villains of the Digimon franchise, by far. You know, his entire arc is one of the best, if not the best, of the entire franchise, you know, the Digimon franchise. His real world arc is by far the best. And I say Miotismon, and I mean only Miotismon. I don't mean all the other transformations he got afterwards, because they were like, oh man, this villain is really popular and we want to reuse it. No, I mean like Miotismo. I don't mean the other transformations he got because they wanted to use his popularity. I mean the original one. He was amazing as a villain, you know, and he's a mega evolution, I think. I think it's a mega one, right, which is above champion. It would be so ridiculous if you, at that point, a Devilmon showed up, which is a champion one, and they'd be like, oh no, it's a Devilmon. He's so much more terrifying than Miotismon. It's like, what? Are you guys smoking? Are you high? Which is how I feel with Garurumon. It's like, I know why they're doing, because it's Garurumon, and Garurumon's from the original Digimon, so, oh no, he must be special and whatnot. But it fell so off. Also, it's kind of obvious that Garurumon is the friend that the Digimon couldn't remember. So, like, that was very obvious, because Garurumon's always going like, oh, I hate the humans. And I feel, and I'm gonna, like, there's very clearly Garurumon at some point had a human, and the fact that he's still alive means the human is alive, which means the human got to go through the back to their world. So, I mean, it's obvious. At least for me, it's obvious. I've seen so many stories that, like, it starts to get like, you can kind of just pick it up. You start seeing like all the foreshadowing. You're like, oh, I know what you're doing. I've seen like stories do that so many times. You just kind of, it just becomes very obvious. Once you know the stereotypes, everything just kind of falls into place. But yeah, like, despite all of that though, I'll say the stories are still enjoyable. You know, the story is still enjoyable. It's just that there's just those tiny moments that I'm like, this story could be so much better. And it's only not better because for some reason they didn't want to. And I don't know why. You know, a good example, having the Arukenimon, you know, situation. The one where you have to pick whether you trust her or not. They made it so obvious that she was evil that I picked her just to spite them. Like, it was getting so ridiculous. I was like, man, why are you doing this? I'm gonna pick her just because you're telling me not to do it. And I don't care. You know, it's like, like, I don't know why they did that. There was no need for that. They could have just gone with actually having a situation where you don't know who's right. You know, you have Kaito, who's been so far pretty much a crazy guy, who's literally just going, I think she's a monster because instinct, which is what a madman would say. It's what someone insane would say. And we have no reason to believe him, but because the game is like having her going like, hee 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 hee, it's like twirling mustache villain. It's like, okay, well, I guess she is truly a villain, and Kaito has now a sixth sense that he can detect monsters on sight. I don't know. That's also a moment that kind of pissed me off. But again, it's like, the fact that I'm criticizing it a lot generally means that I like it. I tend to do that with stories and games that I like. The more I criticize them, it means the more I love them. Because it's like, because I see the flaws and I'm like, you could be so much more, but you're not. And that makes me sad. So I am enjoying Digimon Survive. It's just those tiny little details that just make me scratch my head. That said, I'll be very honest. If I were to say, do I recommend you buying it? My answer would be, wait for a discount. Wait for a discount, maybe at like half price. And then I would be like, okay, at that point, yeah, sure. I would not buy it in its current car. If I knew the game, I would have waited for a discount. Mostly because the game is bare bones. You know, visual novel aspect, I'll say pretty good. It's above average. The RPG aspect is like an afterthought. Clearly put there just to fill in content. Probably to justify its price tag. Which is why I... It's like, that's the other things, right? I've been avoiding combat in the game because I do not like the combat. I find it tedious and I find it just not like... It's not interesting. You know, it's like every Digimon has 2 moves. You just move to their back and you shoot it and boom, they're dead. And still, even though I'm avoiding combat, somehow I am like 11 levels above the average enemy. And I don't know how. It's not like I grinded, you know. The most I've done is, oh, this is a new Digimon. I want them. And I did like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 fights, extra fights, just to capture them. That's not grinding. That's like Pokemon. It's like, gotta catch them all. You wouldn't call that grinding. That's just how people play. And somehow I'm like 11 levels ahead, which I'm happy because it means combat is easier and I don't have to be grinding, which is good because I really do think it's the weakest part of it. But enough of that. I still think it's a good game. Character-wise, though, I still think it's a good game. Well, it's a good story. Character-wise, I'm enjoying the characters. Most of them, not all of them. F Ryu. I legitimately F Ryu. I hate that character. That character pissed me off so much. I am happy that they died. Oh my god, that was an infuriating one. Aside from Ryu and Kaito being an asshole, everyone else is kind of fine. Shoji pisses me off the way they treat Lopmon, but it's not as bad as Ryo was pissing me off, so I can kind of deal with it. And as for the other characters, I kind of like them. I like Aoi, I like Minoru, I like Saki. Miyu's fine, Kaito's fine, and Shoji's also fine. As for the Digimon, they're not really characters. I mean, I feel like they lack some... You know, they're fine. They're fine companions for what they are. I am liking Agumon, though. Surprisingly. I don't know why, but I found his... like, yesterday, like, at the end of the stream where he was, like, comforting us. I don't know why, but I was smiling at that. Even though I find Agumon to be very generic, because he's basically the default Digimon for every game. I was like, oh man, like, this feels good. Feels good to have like a friend like this who's there for you. Man, so this is how it is, huh? But yeah, that's my opinion so far of Digimon Survive. We're gonna keep doing it until we finish it. There's like 7 more chapters to go, so probably 7 more streams. I imagine later chapters are gonna take longer. Hopefully not, though. I mean, the reason why they take so long is because dialogue is so slow. That's the other part that kind of annoys me. Like, sometimes it's kind of like, how do you say, like the Dragon Ball scenes where it's like they punch each other, and then you like have every single side character say their 2 cents, and then go back to the punch, and then again every single character says their 2 cents. And that's kind of like a lot of dialogue is like that. You have the Digimon just like one Digimon says X, and then all the other Digimon just repeat it, but like with different words. And it's like, guys, I don't need to see this 20 times during the same dialogue, please. Which slows down the story a lot. I don't know. Enough complaining. You know, it feels like I'm just complaining. I don't dislike Digimon Survive. I am enjoying it. The fact that I'm complaining and I still want to play means that, you know, I am enjoying. There's just like small problems that I see here and there that could have been done better. And that's generally how it goes. As for Minecraft, we're gonna keep doing Minecraft. Now, the few things I want to build, you know, I want to build a lot of stuff. I want to explore a lot of more stuff. There's a few things. What about Minecraft? Did you figure out the mechanics and such? Regarding mechanics, I know you can do really complex stuff with redstone and whatnot. I mean, I know there's someone who built an entire computer inside Minecraft. I also know someone who built a cell phone inside Minecraft. You can do really crazy stuff with Minecraft. I am aware of that. But, like, that is stuff that just blows up my mind. Like, I'm sure that, like, I am going to be finicking the things and I'm going to be testing out stuff, you know, but that's, you know, for example, right now I did the, you know, I did the automatic, bone mead, stuff, you know, and although it's nice that it's automatic, I find it, like, really bothersome that, like, it's 4 squares high. And I was like, why is it so big? I want to make it smaller. You know, so I'm probably going to be looking at that and being like, okay, how do I make this smaller? But I don't really want to, you know, be looking at tutorials. You know, I like figuring out things by myself. Unless I'm like, nah, this is too much. I have no idea. This goes beyond my mental abilities. Time to look at guides. If you mean like the iron farm, like, I know you can do it by having, what is it? Is it blacksmiths that build golems and then you just kill the golems and the golems give you the iron? But it's like, that seems like too much work. I'd rather just mine it. It's not like I need that much iron anyway. I just need iron until I can find diamonds. After that, it's just for building purposes, which most of the time I don't even use iron. I'll be using like wood and terracotta, which was nice. I have a mesa nearby. Can make like a very colorful house, which is what I want to do Sunday. I want to make a nice house. So go back to mesa, collect some terracotta, and do that. I also want to explore the mine shaft. So that's gonna be something. I'm gonna have to make some. Gonna grab some milk to cure the poison from the spiders, and hopefully it doesn't go too bad. But yeah, like, we'll be doing some stuff with Minecraft. And obviously, as we keep playing, probably mods and whatnot will be added. Because I've seen some mods that are, like, kind of fun. I generally like building stuff. You know, it's kind of like in Subnautica. I hate it. I wasn't liking Subnautica until I got the building section. Until I got to the building part. Once I could build stuff, I was like, oh man, now this is good. That's where the game started for me, essentially. And that's why I like Minecraft. I've been addicted to Minecraft a few times, but there are moments, man, where you just rage quit. It's like for example, last time I played Minecraft, I stopped because I think I went to the Nether realm, and I don't know what happened, but basically lava, and I lost everything. I had like diamond armor, diamond pickaxe, and I was so like, I basically just said, nah, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. And that's basically what happened. My experiences in the Nether realm have not been good so far. Every time I played Minecraft and gone to the Nether realm, I end up rage quitting because I die there from some stupid reason, and I just can't deal with it because I always lose so much stuff. It's not like I can go there without diamond stuff. I need it. And I need the armor and whatnot to survive, like the pigs and the monsters that attack you. Because if I find the dungeon, I'm gonna have to fight the skeletons and whatnot. But that's more late. That's why you abuse mechanics. Yes, that's why you abuse mechanics. But I don't like, you know. But it's one thing to abuse mechanics, another one to make an entire farm for iron. I mean, I am close to a village, so it's not impossible. But that's not what I'm looking for right now. Right now, I just want to make a nice home, make it nice and dandy, make it pretty. But yeah, we'll be looking. Sunday, we'll be looking to improve the house and also looking into the mine shaft. If I told you there's a mechanic that could get you full for a small price, you mean like trading? You can. I imagine you can trade diamond. You can trade with the villagers and they'll give you diamonds or something. It's probably not cheap, but I mean, if you just converge all your vegetables into emeralds and then your emeralds to diamonds, it turns out to be pretty cheap, I guess. But yeah, that'll be it. But yeah, we'll keep playing Minecraft. Monday will, for the time being, be a rest day. And yeah, that will be it for in case of future plans. As for Cult of the Lamb, because I've been hearing people talk about that, and I've seen that people are playing it. I'm not sure I'll play it. I'll make my decision tomorrow, whether or not I'll play it. First I will have to buy it, but I'll make my decision tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be checking a stream out, mech stream, and see how the game is and his experience, and that'll tell me a good idea whether or not the game is for me. Because I already have Hades for a hack and slasher. I don't know if having another hack and slasher is a good idea. Well, I haven't even finished Hades, and I'm gonna have to finish Hades eventually. So, I'll decide tomorrow after seeing the game better. So yeah, I'll put that in limbo. But what about the future? What about future games? So, let's see. What month? We're in August, right? Yeah, we're in August, which means next month. Oh no, never mind. September. Okay, October is a little. Okay, never mind. We're still far away from October, because October is gonna be the. October is when is Halloween? It's October, right? It's almost certain it's October, just to be sure. Sometimes I forget this stuff. It's not like we. Yeah, it's October. Oh, it's the end of October. Huh. Interesting. Yes, October. Yeah, because we don't like Halloween is not really. It used to be really celebrated. October 31st is Halloween. Yeah. Halloween used to be really. I remember as a kid we used to actually celebrate Halloween. I remember going door to door and getting candies and whatnot for a while. Even I think up until I was like a teenager. But then it just kind of faded out. You just don't see that anymore. Halloween just kind of died, and it just became October's the scary month. Ooh. So that's why I was like, wait, where is Halloween? Is it October, right? Because that's the scary month. So yeah, October is gonna be the scary month, which means I'm gonna be playing a bunch of scary games, which. If you've watched my backroom play, you'll probably understand very quickly that I do not deal well with horror games. I get way too, let's say, invested in it and easily spooked. I mean, I get spooked in almost every game I play. I get spooked by my own alerts. But hey, Hidden Gem, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely Friday, because tomorrow is the weekend. Yes. So yeah, that's... You're planning to play horror mode game, right? Steam has a free demo, so I'm interested. You're Yes, I wanted to play it the moment it came out, but I remember someone pointed out on a stream, quite smartly, it was a smart idea that I should keep the horror games for October, and that is what I'm gonna do on October. October is gonna be like every single stream is just gonna be horror games. That's the plan, at least. Whether that actually becomes a thing or not, that's a different thing. So that means that I'm gonna need like games to play during that time. So I might as well not use my horror games right away and keep them for a while, so that I don't I pointed that out loud. Okay, so it was you. I remember someone pointed out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it for October. Because I've seen people play it, and it looks like a game that is definitely gonna spook me a lot. Oh god, I'm already not liking the idea. I'll also be playing like Phantasmaphobia, probably. Not like. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a collaboration. I don't know. We can play. Yeah, we could play maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's that's the only plan I have right now for like the future in terms of gaming, which is October is gonna be the scary month. Everything else is kind of still open to the air. So yeah. As for what I've been doing so far, this week I haven't been doing that much. I've been watching a lot of, still watching a lot of like Lord of the Rings stuff. I've been playing like FGO again. I finally ended. I actually finished Oku event today. I postponed it for a few days. I was only logging in to get the dailies. And today I was like, you know what? I'll finish it today. And I finished it. I beat Kama. Take that. and because I was playing today, I was like, oh man. Castoria is so good. I was like, oh my god, why did I miss her gacha? She's so good. I can one-shot them with Kiara if I have Castoria, which I can't do with Merlin. What are your thoughts on Oku's story? I mean, Oku is pretty old. I mean, not old, but it's a rerun, so it's already happened. But you want my like opinion on Oku? I like it. I like it, you know. I think Kama makes for a very good villain, you know. Definitely, and how do I say it? Like, she's a good villain and a scary villain. I'd say Kama's not as scary as Kiara. Kiara is like Kotomine level of scary. Kiara is terrifying, but that's because Kiara is inherently evil. Whereas Kama's not evil. Her actions are evil, but her thought process isn't. In her mind, she's doing it for the greater good, but her actions is like, no, don't do that. And that's why she works as a villain. She's not as scary as Kiara, who just does it because lol. I hate Kama. No, Kama's amazing though. Like, believe me, I have her. She's amazing. She's so cute. And she's so cool. Kiara's terrifying, though. I mean, both of them... I mean, technically speaking, both of them are still villains. By the fact that if you do their Valentine and pick the wrong choice, you do actually get a dead end. And I got both dead ends for them. they'll kill you with Snoo Snoo. Oh, God. But... Kiara's a great because she's... But I do agree Kiara is, as a villain, better. As a character... maybe? Questionable. I like Kama. I think Kama's more likable. Kiara is like a character I'd say, like, I like to hate. Although I don't really hate because it's Kiara. I don't know. I don't know. Kiara feels like a Kotomine to me. It's like they were just born to be evil, if that makes sense. Although I think Kiara was more... What was Kiara's problem? Kiara wasn't actually born to be evil, right? She was just too horny. I hate that. I mean, I hate it and I love it at the same time, and that's her explanation. It's like, Kiara actually has the personality of a saint, but she's too horny for her own good, and so she's evil. That's basically Kiara. Kama is someone who's got traumas, and I still say that, like, out of like Kama and Parvati is the worst one. I hate Parvati. But that's because of the way they treat Sakura. Kama respects Sakura, whereas Parvati hates Sakura. and that pisses me off. Yeah, but yeah, that's my opinion of Oko. Like, it's a good story, you know. Definitely not for everyone. You know, it's a very how do you say, a very spicy story. There's a lot of spicy stuff happening, but it's a good story. You know, it's a good story, and it's a not, and it, you know, it's like, I mean, it obviously doesn't compare to Kiara's story, to the what was it called? Mooncell collaboration? I'll say Mooncell collaboration. I don't remember right now what was it called. The Fate Extra collaboration. Obviously, it doesn't compare to Fate Extra collaboration, but that's because Fate Extra's collaboration is by far the best story that has ever come out of Fate Grand Order. Like, the story of of that collab is just mind-blowing. It's by far the best, and Kiara's the main villain there, so she by default ends up being one of the best villains because she basically has one of the best plots backing her up. I did miss the summer event though, where Kiara was also a character in the story, so I don't know what she played there. Hopefully I'll be able to play it in the rerun next year. Which reminds me, next she has double D plots. She also has that. But like, no joke, like the plot is actually good. It's also very spicy, yes. It's also that type of plot, you know, with a lot of snoo. But it's also really good. Like, it is. I think it's the only plot that has actually made me tear up in Fate Grand Order. It's the only one that has actually made me like tear up, because the ending plot, the plot twist at the end is so good. It is legitimately just mind-blowing when it happens. I'm sure Hidden Gem understands what I mean. I don't think I've ever encountered someone who has said that story's bad. That is by far one of the best stories, which is also funny because Melt Lilith, which is the main character of the story, was one of the most hated characters of Fate Extra's Triple C, and that story alone skyrocketed her into like top tier waifu. It's like, she was hated before. I remember that because I was one of the people who hated her, because she was actually a nasty person, a very nasty character. And that story alone catapulted her to the top 10, like, without a doubt. And most of her popularity comes from that event alone. It was that good. It also helps that that event happened at like the peak of Fate Grand Order. I mean, we had just come out of you had Babylon, because before that you had Shinjuku, which was also a pretty good story. A bit more on the campy side, was still pretty good. And before that you had Babylon, and you had Camelot. So it's like, you had Camelot, which was one of the best like improvements. You had Babylon, which was one of the best like good stories at the time, and even now it's like one of the fan favorites. And then you had Shinjuku, which was amazing, just because it was just so like cool. It was a very cool story, and also very well made, even if it was campy at some times. But you know, it's like, people love campy stuff. And immediately after that you had Abyssal Paradise, which was just mind-blowing. I remember seeing people's reactions to the plot twist, and it was like, it really caught people off guard. People were not expecting it, and when it hits you with the feels, it hits you hard. Definitely did wonders for Meltedus and Patchlet. It did, didn't it? Those characters originally were so like, I didn't understand why people hated them until I saw like a translation on YouTube of the game. And I started seeing like why they hated them is like because it was basically one-dimensional, and it's like sure like they're hyper-sexualized, but that's all they have. It's like they're hyper-sexualized one-dimensional characters, which as much as media likes to say, well, you know, sex sells, the reality is sex doesn't sell that well when it's just that. You know, if people want sex, they can just go to like a brothel. So like sex sells mostly as just like cover. You know, you then have to you have to have actual substance underneath, and both those characters didn't have it. They were basically one-note characters, and nasty at that. One-note nasty characters. Melchorless was outright detestable. She did a lot of horrible things. Passionlip was on the lighter side, but she still has a lot of problems in her personality. And then came Seraph and was like, now we're gonna make these two characters now, and we're gonna say character, and we'll just say like, you know what, that's in the past. They went through character development, and it's like, okay, I'll take it. They're now adorable, and I want it. So yeah, I think the reason why it's easy to say Kiara's great is because Kiara has by far the best story backing her up. You know, she is the villain of the best story in FGO. Best, like, by at least in my opinion. Obviously, some people might disagree. But in my opinion, the best story of FGO was Seraph, and Kiara's the villain. And because that's the best story and Kiara's the villain, she is immediately one of the best villains you ever had. And rightly so, because Kiara is terrifying. Kama, not as terrifying, but I still think she's good as a villain. You just have to understand, like, Oko's not on the same level. You don't have a massive plot twist like in Seraph. I mean, Kama's plot twist that, you know, everything was Keikaku. Everything's going according to plan, you know, is a very generic plot twist. It's typically what villains do. But, you know, I don't think it was... I don't think it came off bad because Kama was so obviously being like, oh no, you beat me. Whatever shall I do? That it's like when she goes like, you do realize this is all going according to my plan, right? It doesn't come off, it just comes up. It kind of predicted it. Yeah, I think what's the next one in actually? It's no longer summer events because we already went through the summer events. The next event probably going to be the Japanese one, the one where we have the ruler. Oh, is it Nobunaga's brother, the one where he gets released? Oh, that'd be cool. We get to see him going like Nesang and dying from his own ultimate. Oh god, I wonder how that story goes. I never read novel stories except for like the one that was actually serious. The what's it called? The oh my god, I'm forgetting the name. The Imperial City, I think that was the name. Where the one where Okita Alter, that's the one. The one where Okita Alter came out. I think that's the only one I read. And even then, it was like, it was good, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. That's the same with Fate stories. Some of them are, but that's kind of normal, because they have multiple offers. You have good. You always have, next is Ska, perhaps Lotto, and after that is Guda Guda. Oh yeah, the Guda Guda. Skafa has Lotto? Oh, you mean lottery? Is it like an event? I don't really care then. Like the event right now I'm like really looking for to go for the gacha is the what's it called? Numerical Sea. Is that the one? Imaginary Sea. That's the one. I want the foreigner. She replaces Gil's lottery. Oh, okay. So it's like a New York event, but no Gil this time. Why no Gil? Gil's like the best. No replace. Scafa half, why you replace Gil? Gil is golden. He deserves to be the spotlight. But the imaginary number or imaginary C is the one I'm looking for next, because I want the what's his name? I forget the name. The painter, that cut off his ear, and made the Starry Night. Why can I not? Van Gogh? Is it Van Gogh? Imaginary Scramble. Yes, I'm excited for that. And Dumons and Lost Bed at the end of the year. Imaginary Scramble. That's the one. Van Gogh. Yeah, Van Gogh. There you go. I want Van Gogh. I want to have the creepy, smiley Van Gogh. All bleached. God. Dumon's Lost Belt. Dumon's Lost Belt? Oh, Dumon! I forgot about that one. Oh, it's the one where okay, that one. I forgot that was a saying. Isn't that the one where Muramasa gets released? No, is that no? No, Muramasa's afterwards, right? Well, there's a bunch of stuff that gets released on that one, but I'm more excited. I haven't finished the Olympian Lost Belt yet. I need to finish that, but it's just I don't feel the energy. I don't feel the energy yet. I need some time to get through it. I don't know why I haven't finished it. I just kind of stopped. Oh, I know why, because I stopped playing FGO. And I've only recently started playing. But I don't know. It's just weird to play right now. I can play it somewhat while I'm doing other stuff, but it's still difficult because like game is getting harder and harder as stuff comes out, and I can no longer go like, oh dude, just click pretty button and go boo and go brr, bazooka go brr. I can no longer do that, which means I have to like look at stuff and be like, okay, I have to click this button and click this skill and do this skill. And so I have to be looking at stuff. Like today where I was beating the event, I was like, well, Castoria, come over here. Let me use all your skills and Kiara, blow them up. And there we go. Which probably made it faster to just get through it. But at least now it's done. I want the Avalon though. I want the Avalon event, the Lost Belt though. That's the one I want. I want the round table knights. I want Bargesh. I want Gawain Fairy and Tristan Fairy and Lancelot Fairy and Morgan. I want all of them. Oberon too. It's like, oh my god, like the characters of that event. I want Castoria. Is there any character of that event I don't want? I don't think there is. I think that Lost Belt has every character in it I want, because they're so good. But yeah, like, I don't know. That's basically what I've been doing. I was simply playing Hearthstone, kind of. Although I got annoyed today and just rage quit it. But that's typical of card games. But yeah, that's basically what's been on my mind. Mostly just Fate. I've seen they've just had they just had the summer event like a few days ago. They just started on Japan on the Japanese server, and oh boy, there were some characters there that got some very spicy Noble Phantoms. Oh god. Ibuki's Noble Phantom is like, Jesus, yes please. Or but like I was surprised by how many servants they had. Normally they have like what, 3 servants, 4 servants, 5 servants. It's around that. I think they had like 7 this time, most of which were 5 stars too, which surprised me, because normally they have like 2 5 stars. They have like the first phase and then the second phase, right? Yeah, that's normally how they do. They have like, because they normally divide the summer into 2 gachas, and they have like one 5-star for the first gacha, and then a 1-star for this a 5-star for the second gacha. This time they have like 3 of them, so I guess they're gonna do 3 gachas this summer. But they're very desirable ones. They usually 6, 2 SSRs, and 4 SRs. They have 3 SSRs this year, yeah, and they're like highly like desirable. Well, I guess Ibuki's not as much. I like Ibuki because I like monster girls, but I know Ibuki is not as desired by that many. But Merlin and oh god, did I forget her name? Scatty are very desirable. It's like, oof, those are like first one is just Merlin, it's just female Merlin, so it's like, oh well, Merlin's a popular character, now they've gender bended him, there we go. Instant top tier waifu. Oh god. The fact that she also has Saber's voice props her popularity. But oh, they also had adult what's her name? The Chinese empress. That surprised me. I was not expecting that, to see her with boobs. I was not expecting the booba. Like, she shows up and it's like, wait, is that older? What's her name? Hold on. What's the name? What's the name? Assassin of Nightless City? Yeah. What's her name? What's her name? Why you not give me her name? Ah, here we go. Wu Zitian. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Wu Zitian. Oh, she's gonna be a caster. She's already here, Jesus. Although she doesn't have an image. She's gonna be a caster. Okay. And she's gonna have booba. She's one of the few I like this year. Because she gets to be an adult now. That one caught me off guard. I was not expecting them to release that character. I wasn't. Especially with the whole stuff that's happening on with China censoring the game. I did not expect them to go that. Yeah, I was like, it'll be interesting to see. I'm definitely interested to see her quotes. I definitely want to see, like, why is she going to talk about now being, like, a grown-up. But I don't know, it just feels weird. It's like, why is she so different? Yet her face is the same, so it's like, there's some conflict there. But yeah, I'm happy. At least people who like Wu Zetian can now have their fetish without being called certain names. God, well, I'm not sure I wanted to say that. God, what was the other one? No. Gawain's sister also there, which is nice. Happy to see her have. It's Gareth, right? Gareth? Is that the name? Gareth? Or is that the other one? I forget. Gawain has too many brothers and sisters. Everyone's related in the round table. But that one's also getting. What's the other one? There was one more. Was released. Who was released with? There's Gareth. There's one more. There's one more 4-star. Actually, I can see that here. Who is it? Oh, is it the Valkyrie? Oh, no. It's Iris. Never mind, it's Iris. That one is a bit off. But it's fine. I'm sure we'll get. It's Iris. I don't really have much of an opinion on that character. So we'll see how that goes. Also, really cool what they did with the Valkyrie. Like, I like how... I mean, I like it and I hate it too. They're gonna do the Valkyrie or welfare or the welfare, yeah. But they're gonna do like like they did with the Mecha Elizabeth, where you have to pick one of them at the end. You have to decide which one you want, and you don't get the other one. Like with Mecha Elizabeth, you could get both because you could get one in the first time and the second and the other one in the rerun. But this time you can only get 2 out of 3, and I don't like that. I want all 3 of them. They're so cute. I do like they have costumes for the other Valkyrie too. That's kind of cute. But it's nice to see Valkyrie getting some love. They deserve it. They're so cute. Oh god. How did it end up being talking about fate? How did I end up talking about fate again? Is that just something I cannot escape? Probably. Can never escape the fate. Is there anything coming out with fate in these years? I mean, the anime. I don't think they announced anything. No, I don't think they announced anything. Just kind of sad. But they normally announce it. Those type of like they normally only do those announcements, if I think correctly, around New Year. That's normally what they do. New Year they always do weird stuff and either release new like OVAs or trailers. I don't wonder what they're doing. I used to be like really like in my head was like dug deep in and just I knew everything that was going on within the franchise. I have no idea what's going on now. I think aside from like the remake they're doing for Fate Extra, I'm like clueless. Akko's which release was announced, no anime though. No, they are gonna do an anime for Akko's visual novel. I know that. They're gonna make an anime out of that, which will be interesting. Man, it'll be interesting just because I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't think the visual novel itself has any options, so it's not like they have to pick a route like they did with Fate Stay Night, but it's like Akko's visuals, the visual novel's visuals are so mind-blowing. Like, it feels like you're watching an anime sometimes. And I don't mean it like with Digimon Survive. Digimon Survives feels like an anime, but it doesn't look like one. It just has the atmosphere of an anime. Akko's visual novel looks like an anime sometimes. It is that, like, crisp and the animations are just mind-blowing. Considering it's literally just sprites moving around. It's not like actual animation. It's just someone really knows how to work with coordinates and sprites and make it all look amazing. So I don't know if an anime would be able to master that. But if they're being made, who is making it actually? Is it a Footable? If it's a Footable, then I can believe it. A Footable has a pretty good track record with that. Akko anime. Is it this one? Is it this one? Yes. Not yet. Yeah. Okay, so it is this one. It comes out next year. Footable. Okay, it is being done by Footable. So I can see Footable pulling it off. Footable has a pretty good track record when it comes to action scenes, and they are only getting better as time goes on. They're getting more and more experience. It's kind of funny seeing their experience. Like their experience with Fate allow them to make Demon Slayer so gorgeous. Because they basically picked everything they learned from Fate and just applied it to Fate, to Demon Slayer, and improved it, and we're like, here's a masterpiece. And hopefully they do the same with Alkos. Is it going to be an anime or a movie, though? It's a movie. Okay, it's a movie. Ugh. That means it's going to come out next year, and we'll be able to see it, like, a year after or two. Oh, it's going to take a while, then. Never mind. It's like, it'll be, like, 25, and we'll be able to see it. Okay, it's going to take a while. At least we'll be hearing whether or not it's good or not by that point, right? So, there's that. So, aside from that, there's not really much going, is there? Let me check. Tight Moon, what you got over here? Is there anything? No, I don't see anything. No. Man, they have so much stuff, but it's just special stuff. It's not actual animes. Yeah, they don't have anything coming out in the near future. The English remake visual novel releases this November, though. I guess. I'm not sure I'll get it. I don't know. It depends. I don't... Like, I heard... The thing about Alko's visual novel, and I remember when it came out, it underperformed. It was not good. Like, not good as in, it did not sell well enough. Which is important because I believe it was originally supposed to be a trilogy of visual novels. And it ended up not having a trilogy because it really underperformed. It did not sell as much. And that's because, like, the visual novel market is just dying. Visual novels were, at one point, really popular. Now they're not as popular. It's weird. Sometimes you'll have outliers who just break the mold and get through and manage to get into, like, a wider audience. But, like, your typical visual novels are no longer selling well. You're no longer selling, like, a good amount of numbers. And Oko was kind of one of that. It's like Oko had, the visual novel had a lot of, like, it was good from what I heard, but it just didn't sell well. And that was because the market just wasn't there. It's also important to note that in Japan, visual novels, generally speaking, unless you're, like, selling it for consoles and whatnot, which didn't happen with Oko. Oko was exclusively for PC, if I remember correctly, at the time. I think they changed that, but at the time it was exclusively for PC. And visual novels, PC, at the time, were in Japan, were mostly, the target audience was mostly adult content. Alright, we were talking about, it was basically hentai. If it didn't have that, generally underperforms, because your target audience is people who want hentai. Market is doing well enough for the Aqua visual novel remake and Tsukihime visual novel remakes. Now, they're doing well now. I'm talking about at the time. At the time it came out, the first visual novel of Oko, it did not go well. It underperformed. And that was because at that time, specifically, the visual novel market was basically, you either have hentai in the game, or it's gonna be a flop. Now it's a bit different. You have, the Western market has kind of shown that you can make visual novels exclusively for the PC without having any hentai, and it works. You just have to have a good story. And the remakes, I mean, it's important to note, Tsukihime is an outlier. I don't think Tsukihime is a good example. Like, people have been begging for the remake for like how many years now? 20 years. So it's normal that it's selling well, considering people have been waiting for it for 2 decades. And so and it's not even like the full. It's not even what they wanted. They want, because it's only like 2 routes, which people wanted more, but at least it's something. That's gonna be something at least. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm still kind of hoping for an anime of the adaptation of like Fate Grand Order stuff, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen anytime soon. Even though I wish they would do it. It's like Babylon worked. Why won't you do it again? But oh well. Instead, we get instead of getting like good fantasy stuff, instead we're getting Lord of the Rings. We're getting Rings of Power instead. Oh god. Oh god. That's gonna hurt. Oh, I'm hoping it goes well and doesn't. It's not a mess, but it's probably gonna be a mess. There's so many red flags. There's so many. And as much as I want to keep an optimistic, as much as I want to be optimistic, I look at the red flags and I'm like, if there's this many red flags, I might as well just accept that it's gonna be bad. There's going to be a second Tsukihime remake visual novel with Far Side roots. Oh god. Is it going to take another 2 decades to make? At this point, Nazo's just going to die from old age before he makes the remake. Is this going to be like Berserk, where it just never ends because the author dies? I mean, is that too soon to say that? I like Berserk, so I don't mean that disrespectful. Maybe it's too early to say that. Maybe it's too early. But some like it took 2 decades for Nasu to write the remake, which was only 2 routes out of 5. Oh god, it's gonna take so long. I think Nasu said next year possibly. Oh, that's nice. I still doubt it. I mean, Nasu is probably playing Elden Ring right now. Well, actually no. Right now he's probably sleeping, but he's probably playing Elden Ring daily, right right now. He does love his Dark Souls games, which is nice. You can kind of tell that a lot of his more recent works have been inspired by some key storytelling points from the Souls franchise. So that is something that's cute to notice sometimes. Oh god, my chair just. Holy moly! Oh. I just felt my entire body just fall for a moment as my chair unlocked itself and started going down. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, what key points? So I noticed it mostly in like Avalon, in the Avalon Lost Belt, but you can kind of tell it from a general standpoint, like the misery kind of vibe. If like one of the things about Nasu storytelling that I've always preferred, which is why I prefer Nasu storytelling to, for example, Ken Urobuchi. Even though I do think Ken Urobuchi is also a good writer, it's just that they have very different styles. Is that Nasu knows how to write horror and like misery, but with hope. Yeah, if you understand what I mean, it's like Everything's miserable. Everything's bad. Everything is just effed up. But there's still hope. And even though, like, for example, in Heaven's Feel, everything just feels like it's not going to work. It's everything's just gonna get... Babylon's also a good example. Babylon's also a good example where it feels like you've lost. There's no hope and whatnot. There's just but you know, there's the little bit of hope, like at the end of the tunnel there, that maybe if you can just get there. And I feel like he has improved that so much over the last stories he's been writing. You know, with you saw that with Camelot, you saw that with Babylon. I don't know if he wrote Seraph, but you saw that with I think Avalon. I don't know what stories he wrote after that in Fate Grand Order. I know he's now kind of a helper. He no longer writes stories. He's just kind of a counselor. People offers go to him. Writers come to him to basically ask for pointers. But I think he's mastered a lot of the... Because Souls also has that. Souls is a lot about... lore-wise, is a lot about misery and how everything's doomed and how there's... how everything's just effed up and there's just no point. But there's that tiny little bit of hope that maybe things will turn out. And I can feel like that a lot of that influencing his writing. Because he already did that, but it was a kind of crude, and now he feels like he's mastered it, and so his stories feel a lot more... I mean, Babylon's a good example of that. Babylon continues to be a very good example of that. That sense of doom that you got in the story was really well done, and I like that I like stories like that. It's the same reason why I like Lord of the Rings. I like stories that even when everything looks like it's going to go bad, there's that tiny bit of hope, There's that tiny light at the end of the tunnel. I like stories like that. It's also kind of why I don't like Game of Thrones and why I don't like Gen Urobushi's Fate Zero as much as the rest of the Fate franchise, because there's just no hope. It's just dreadful and hopeless. It's also why I like Berserk, even though Berserk has a very dark and hopeless start. As you get into the story, you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's kind of where, in my opinion, Berserk starts really going strong. It's when the author finally mastered the hold on, I know everything's bad, I know we're all gonna die, but there's that little light over there. Let's try and get there, and maybe things will be better. And I like that. I like that in stories. That's why Lord of the Rings is a good story for me, for example. I like the hope. I don't like misery, endless misery. Like every story in every series is trying to do because Game of Thrones did it. I don't like it. And Game of Thrones didn't really do it, I'll be very honest. Game of Thrones still had a little bit of hope in it, but you could really tell that once the book material was gone, and it was basically the series writers now basically guiding the ship, you could tell the hope just got sucked out of the show, and they just went with, here's some booba, here's some murder, here's some blood and gore. Yeah, that's what you guys like, don't you? And it's like, okay, you lost the point. You lost me. And unfortunately, I feel like that's going to be the same with a lot of shows. Like, for example, the new Rings of Power. I don't know why. I look at it and I feel like, is this like Game of Thrones Point 2? because it feels like Game of Thrones Point 2. Now, it's not going to be Game of Thrones Point 2 because I have heard that it's going to be family friendly, which I'm not sure I would do that either because Lord of the Rings is not family friendly. People die there, and there's torture, and there's mind manipulation, and there's corruption, and there's heavy topics. So I wouldn't call it like family friend. It's obviously not a Game of Thrones, you know, there's no blood and, well, there's some gore, but mostly for like non-human monsters. You know, there's none for the humans. I don't know. I don't know how age restriction works in America. It might just work like, well, if you have violence against humans, then it's fine, or non-humans, it's fine, something like that. But hopefully they don't screw it up. But they're gonna screw it up probably. I mean, some of the man, I don't know. Oh god, I hope it's. Part of me wants it to be a train wreck because that'd be funny, and part of me wants me not to be a train wreck because I want to enjoy it. But there you go. That's the type of stories I like. And that's kind of what I gravitate to. That's, for example, that's why I hate Rio in Digimon Survive. I cannot stand people like Rio who just suck all the hope out of a scene. I hate it. I detest them. It just pisses me off. They just bring out the worst out of people. And I hate it. It's like everything's just gonna be doom and gloom, and it's like crying in a corner because there's no hope. And it's like, please, no. I want fun. I don't want endless misery. The world's already endless misery by itself. I don't need more reminders of that. Let's bring some fantasy and some fantastical into the stories. But that's my opinion. Obviously, you can have different ones. That's my type of taste. I like stories that are a bit more on the hopeful side, which is probably why I like Fate that much compared to some other stories that have come out. I know some people say that Fate is a bit too lighthearted, even though, you know, it has some pretty effed up moments. I mean, there are some pretty effed up stories in Fate. Like, Fate is not for the soft of hearts. There are some pretty effed up stories in Fate. But overall, it has a very light tone, and I like it. You know, yes, I do like that there is Nero, who in real life burned Rome and, you know, was persecuting the Christians, you know. And I like that she's just a wife that does humu, you know, and that just wants to be loved. I love it. I don't know why, but I find that amusing. You know, and I like that almost every character has redeeming qualities. Even characters that normally they are depicted as unredeemable by modern society. Kinda. Not all of them. Columbus is still like horrible. But some of them, you know. Some of them there's like they're actual villains. But, you know, there's some part of them that is like, okay, I get it. Like, what's his name? Gilderay? I mean, I don't think Gilderay can be redeemed, but like you understand where he comes from and what his downfall was. Even if he did become an irredeemable monster at the end, it makes sense how he got there, and you can sympathize with him. Fate is not lighthearted, but I also appreciate that there's a glimmer of hope in the middle of the heaviness, and the heaviness feels earned and fitting, not just there for its own sake. It is lighthearted though. Fate is lighthearted. Like when I say I feel like that's a trap. That's the saying. Like once you do a trap, it kind of you try. It's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. You know, once you do it, it's harder to trust you. So I don't even want to read it. So I'll say whatever is best character. Like, once you do it, you lose the trust. You gotta understand that. That's how it works. But Fate is lighthearted, you know? You might not look at it. Oh my god, why is my chair unlocking? You're right that it's gone more in that direction, and Fate Stay Night wasn't. How do I put it? Yes, it is. It has gone more on the lighthearted side with Fate Grand Order. And yes, Fate Stay Night wasn't as lighthearted as Fate Grand Order is. However, check Discord if you can. Okay, let me just check that because that's easy to check. Oh. He tried for you to say, oh, okay. Oh, okay. So that's what he was trying to get me to say. Ah, okay, okay. Ah. Is that how it became?
But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you
Oh, I can see how it... I can see how the pronunciation would come out like that. Okay, okay, okay. But it's the same I said, like, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Once you do it, it's like, well, now you have the reputation of doing it, so I don't trust you. That's how it works. Welcome to the real world. But regarding the Fate lightheartedness, what I mean by lighthearted, I don't mean like it's a kid's show, right? Obviously, it's not a kid's show. What I mean by it is, for example, would you say that Lord of the Rings is lighthearted? Some might say it is, you know, and some might say it's not. But I think most people would say that Lord of the Rings is not lighthearted. Like, stuff happens, people die. Some very, especially once you start getting into like the lore of Lord of the Rings, like the background of many characters, it is not lighthearted at all. It gets dark. What happens to the elves and the dwarves, what Sauron does to them to make the orcs is so bad. It is really bad. But the show itself, you know, the story itself has a lightheartedness to it, which is what I meant by having the hope. It's like, yeah, there are moments where it feels like everything's bad and there's no hope, but in general, like, there's this lighthearted of, well, at the end of the journey, everything will go well. Compared to, for example, let's say Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones is not lighthearted. Game of Thrones is a story of pure human malice, and where good is punished and bad is rewarded, right? That is the world of Game of Thrones, which is mostly retelling of real life events, which was the Rose Wars. But it's not lighthearted. And that's what I mean by Fate being lighthearted. Fate is lighthearted because it touches on a lot of subjects that are really heavy, but there's always like it always tries to like show the good side. You know, obviously Fate Stay Night is a difficult one to say it's lighthearted because you obviously have Sakura's, you know, Heaven's Feel route, which is effed up. It has a lot of bad sayings, but even Heaven's Feel, despite being the darkest route of them all, it's still lighthearted for one simple reason, which is it is the darkest route, but it has the happiest ending, which showcases the lightheartedness. That is what I talk about Nasu writing, which is Nasu's really good at making stories where you go through horrible hardships, but you come out of it better. which is what Heaven's Feel was. You know, Heaven's Feel, it was a journey of misery that ended in paradise. Well, not paradise, because, you know, Shiro lost his body and he's kind of a puppet now and whatnot, but that's small details. Like, they're happy, they're a happy family now, you know. Shiro's happy and Sakura's happy, which is the whole point. I see what you mean by lighthearted in this case. That's what I mean, because it's the same thing with, like, Berserk. Berserk is a very good example of, because Berserk is a very long series, and you can actually see the author's mind state changing as you read Berserk, because it took him so long. And you see that when the author started Berserk, he was very, like, edgy and was very, like, just on the dark side. Like, goodness is for the weak and it's to be joked at, and if you want to get through this hell, you have to be bad and make bad decisions. You know, it was kind of that direction. But as the story progressed, it never lost its soul of being like a very, like, grounded and terrifying many times story of human nature and demons and, you know, bad people. But you could tell that as the story went, it became more lighthearted and more lighthearted, because you started seeing the characters, instead of the author constantly being punishing good characters, he started rewarding good behavior. And that's when I say, like, lightheartedness. Because, you know, like, for example, Game of Thrones. A Game of Thrones, if you're a good guy, you will die. If you're a good guy, you die because people take advantage of you and they backstab you. But in most of the other stories that I've mentioned, if you're, for example, in Berserk, if you were a good guy in the initial part of the story, you get taken advantage by a demon, and the demon then eats you. Whereas in later stories, if you were a good guy, you know, Guts saves you. And the good guy learns a lesson, and he moves on, and now he's not just good, he's a good person who also can judge people accordingly, you know. And that's what I mean by, like, lighthearted. Like, the author's, you know, the ability to make a story that has heavy topics, but it's not just miserable. And, you know, a good example, Fate Zero. Fate Zero is not lighthearted at all. It is, if that story is the epitome of heavy-hearted. It is so, like, heavy. It is so much more heavy. Even though, like, Fate Zero, in my opinion, is not even half as gruesome or cruel as Heaven's Feel. And it somehow has a more heavy tone than Heaven's Feel. And that's what I mean by, like, being lighthearted. Because in Heaven's Feel, yeah, Sakura goes through hell. A lot of people are dying. A lot of characters go through hell. They get backstabbed. A lot of good characters get effed up. But there's that hope at the end. And you do get the hope at the end. Whereas in Fate Zero, it's like every character that you like, except for Waver and Iskander, because they're the comic relief and you can't really effed up the comic relief. But aside from those two, every good character gets effed up and has their world destroyed, and it's miserable. And it's just like, there's a reason why Iskander and Waver were one of the last to die, because the story, because they were carrying that story on their back. If you remove Iskander and Waver from Fate Zero, the story becomes garbage. It becomes unbearable, because they were the only light in that dark hell that was Fate Zero. Without them, the story would just be a dread to go through. Which is why they were the last to die, because by the end, you're just, well, they're dead, but, you know, I was like, we're at the end, so I might as well finish this. Which is what happened. Because, oh my god, was Fate Zero just... It's not saying, like, Geno Robushi, I don't know, like the simps of Garen Urubushi pissed me off with Fate Zero, because Fate Zero is so like bad. It's just so many well, it's not bad. Obviously, when I say bad, I mean like in the context of the Fate. Waver didn't die. You know what I mean? Like they left the story. You know, that's what I mean. You know, I'm just it's just a way to talk. You know, is an exercise in misery. Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like it's an exercise in misery, and you know, it's like I don't like it, and I think that is, you know, it's like obviously Fate Zero has a lot of good points, but the reality about Fate Zero is Iskander and Waver, and that is it. Saber is also pretty nice in Fate Zero. I like Saber in Fate Zero. I don't like Gilgamesh in Fate Zero as much. I just find him overall boring. Kotomine is just whatever. He's there. He's like a placeholder for a character. Kiritsugu is just... he's a main character that doesn't exist. Tokiomi is also kind of non-existent. I mean, aside from Waver, pretty much all of the masters are non-existent for the vast majority. And the ones who are not, which is Kotomine and Kiritsugu, are just... eh. Mind you, though, that in the books... those two are really good, right? I've read the actual books, and Kiritsugu and Kotomine in the books are really good characters. But that's because they are people who... Kiritsugu and Kirei are characters who don't talk. They think. So in the books, they work because you are, you know, you're reading their inner monologues. You're reading their inner conflicts. But in the show, it's like you don't have that, so they just end up being these silent characters that just look into the void. Okay, have to go. See ya. Bye-bye, LDP. Have a lively day. Also not going to be up for much longer. I'm just going to end my rationality here. Yeah, it's like in the books, if they worked, and outside of the book, they didn't work. Because they're silent characters. It's the same reason why Shiro didn't work in the first anime, but worked in the Unlimited Blade Works anime. In the first anime, because Shiro is also a character who is mostly inner monologuing and having inner conflicts. Like most people think that, you know, most people who watch Fate Stay Night think that Shiro's a pacifist. When Shiro's not a pacifist, he's a hothead. He many times wants to punch Shinji in the face. That's the reality. That's who Shiro is. Shiro is a hothead that wants to break Shinji's face in. But he doesn't, because he's a good person. And good people don't just break people's face because they feel like it. But you wouldn't know that because that's inner monologues. You know, that's Shiro doing wishful thinking, you know, kind of like you do in real life, where someone pisses you off, you're not going to be like, and punch them. You're going to be like, oh, if only I could hate you so hard right now. You know, it's an inner monologue, you know. And in the Unlimited Blade Works, they were kind of able to show that a little bit because Football's just good at animation. And so they were kind of able to show, you know, a little bit of Shiro's character. Shiro loses so much depth and subtlety going from visual novel to anime because of the perspective change to third person. It's not even the change of third person. The thing about monologues is that, of inner monologues, is that they're frowned upon in pretty much everywhere. Like everywhere. Be it animation, series, movies. They only exist in books and visual novels. Outside of that, they don't really work because they're just seen as a cheap way to build character, you know. And it's that typical show don't tell. you shouldn't have your character telling like how they sync. You should be having them showing how they sync in a visual media. And that's why Shiro loses so much when he went to the anime format. Because Shiro is not who most people think he is. He is not a pacifist who just wants to save people willy-nilly. He is a very complex and hot-headed character that wants to physically hurt like people if they show any signs of being evil. Like, he is not a pacifist. He is everything but a pacifist. But you won't be able to tell that unless you read the visual novel, at least had some knowledge about that. But that's what and Kiritsugu and Kirei have the same problem. They have the exact same problem. Kiritsugu throughout the books of Fate Zero was a character that he was a character that was afraid to die, and he was afraid to lose what he loved. Throughout the entire books, that's who Kiritsugu was. Like, many of the... A good example. Keinef versus Kiritsugu. Anime, Kiritsugu just slaughters Keinef. Keinef has no control. Kiritsugu is always in control. Books, Kiritsugu is technically in control, but he is terrified. He is terrified of his own shadow while Keinef is moving around. It is not an easy fight as the anime portrays it. Yes, in actuality, what ends up happening is that Kiritsugu dominates Keinef, but mentally, Kiritsugu is terrified. Keinef terrifies him, you know, and that's never shown, which is why Keinef is the butt of the joke for a lot of people, and he's basically become the butt of the joke, even though he was actually the most powerful master in the entire story. Sure, he's not as powerful as Kiritsugu, but that's mostly an affinity issue. Same with Kotomine. Kotomine's inner struggles, while they are shown a little bit in the anime, they are mostly like ignored. Kirei is constantly debating whether or not his desire is, and regarding his desires and his morals, because Kirei does have morals. Kirei knows what he wants to do is wrong, but he wants to do it, and that's a really interesting internal struggle. But you kind of gloss over it in the anime because, again, they're characters who have internal struggles. Now, Kirei did get a little bit of benefit with having Gilgamesh basically work as his psychiatrist. It was like, come on, Kirei, tell me how you feel, and Kirei just confesses. But Kiritsugu did not have that. Kiritsugu had one moment that feels extremely off in the anime, which is when he's looking through the he's in the castle, the Irisville's castle, the Einsberg castle, is looking into the forest, and Irisville hugs him from behind, and he basically starts crying because he really feels, because he trusts Irisville enough to reveal that side of him, to reveal that weakness that he has. And so he starts crying, yelling that he's afraid and he just wants to leave, and that he begs Irisville to please, let's just leave. We can just leave this war and just run away from the Einsberg. That's what he says. And while that kind of happens in the anime, it comes off so off because there's no build up for it. Because up until that point, Kiritsugu's just been shown as a emotionless person. But in the books, that's a very pivotal moment because it's a moment of weakness. One of the few moments where Kiritsugu actually shows what's going on through his head, right? And that's why I like Kiritsugu in the book, but I don't like Kiritsugu in the anime. The anime is just boring. In the book, he is an actual complex person who doesn't want to be there, who really just wants to be with Irisville and Eliasville and doesn't want to kill any of the people in the war, but because the Einsberg, there's a pressure from both Irisville, who wants to, Irisville wants to win, because her winning means that Eliasville doesn't have to become a Holy Grail. And so Irisville is putting pressure on Kiritsugu to keep going forward and to win the war. Which you don't really get in the anime. In the anime, Irisville is just... I mean, Irisville is amazing. She's an amazing character in the anime, but you don't really get that sense that she's the one who's actually pushing Kiritsugu forward. And instead, you just feel like, they're kind of doing their own thing. Irisville's just doing what the Einsburn are telling her to do, and Kiritsugu's doing the same, which is not the case. Irisville is there because she wants to be there. She wants to protect Eliasville from becoming, from there being another war. And Kiritsugu wants to be there because he wants to be happy with Irisville and Eliasville. The whole Kiritsugu wanting to save the world is a plot point, but that only happens once Kiritsugu realizes that it's a monkey paw. Originally what he really wanted was just to be happy with Irisville and Eliasville. And yes, obviously the goal of world peace is in his mind, and if he can get it, then he'll get it, but that's not his goal. His goal is win to get the Einsburn's Holy Grail, and then get the hell out of there with Irisville and Eliasville. Which doesn't work out. And once he learns the truth of the Grail, he just kills it. Which is a really, it's a really bad moment for him. And he never recovers from it. I know Hidden Gem doesn't like Kiritsugu. And I'm probably building him to be much better than he probably deserves, in her opinion. But I do think Kiritsugu is not as bad of a character. I do think he has his flaws and whatnot, especially the anime version. Has a lot of flaws, Jesus. But at least in the books, he was... I'm not going to say like an heroic figure, but he was a much more understandable and sympathetic character. And someone that you really wanted to win. But unfortunately, there is no hope in Fate Zero, because it's a story about misery, and everyone has to be miserable, including Shiro, who loses everything, including his mind. So yeah, there you go. You got an opinion of me in Fate Zero, because I actually read the light novels. Oh, I'll also say, like, the books are much better in terms of gruesome and gore than the anime. Like, some of the stuff the Gills and what's his name? Urio's key. The caster team do to the kids is, it is nasty stuff. I don't think I've ever encountered stuff like... I think the only stuff I've encountered that's similar to that is like what's it called? Warhammer 24. I think that's the only one that's like similar in terms of gruesomeness. Like, they do some really nasty stuff to the children. But anyway, there you go. You got my opinion about the Fate Zero franchise. So, wait. So, with that said, now that I finally ended my... I think I probably didn't end up doing as much as I wanted to do, or talk about everything, but it's fine. We can do it next time. Unless you have any other question or whatnot, we'll be ending it here. Luckily, I did not started the stream. My mic wasn't working. That was sad. Anyway, that'll be it for now. Oh, nice time too. 8. Oh, okay, it changed. Anyway, tomorrow we'll be back with more Digimon Survive. I hope you all show up. yes, please do show up. And then, yeah, we'll continue playing Digimon Survive for a while, because I want to finish that so that I can just push into a corner. I still have to go for 7 chapters, so that's going to take a while. But at least right now we're doing like a chapter per stream. So hopefully if that is consistent, we'll be able to end it in like by the end of the month, hopefully. I don't know though if I'll be doing Digimon Survive as much as I did this week. This week I did 3 of them. I think that was too much because I'm already like, oh man, I'm gonna have to play it again tomorrow. I'm not sure I want to. I'm probably gonna play a little bit less. We'll be doing Minecraft Sunday, and Monday I'll be resting. I'll try to put the schedule Sunday instead of Monday, because I'll be resting Monday. For now, Monday is like resting day for me. Anyway, thank you all for being here and talking. Yay. Remember, you're all free to show up at any stream and talk about whatever you want. Just because I'm playing a specific game doesn't mean you can't show up and, talk like you do in Let's Chats. But if you feel like you want to have like my full attention, I always do a Let's Chat on every Friday around this time. Normally do it like for 2 hours and then it'll be over. Sometimes it can go a little bit longer depending on what's happening. Anyway, thank you all for being here and joining me. And until next time, this has been jorgiguel. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to follow on Twitch, Twitter, and also Discord. Yes, because I do have a Discord. Yes, the links are down below. Until next time, bye-bye.